So what we really want to do is throw it open to questions about Facebook, and what we don't want as well is for you to walk out of the room with a question that you're hoping somebody else would have asked. Mm-hmm. So would anyone like to start us off with a question on Facebook? And feel free to throw it out on anything.
Cool, Robin. What's the policy with having more than one Facebook account in terms of business versus personal? Or I obviously would like to keep the two separate. Yep. So what's the best way of approaching that?
Yeah, I can answer that one if you like. Yeah, so Facebook's very much set up to have one person, every person in the world to have one personal Facebook login. And often people have this perception that to keep their business page and their personal page separate, that they need to create a new login. But that actually causes all sorts of headaches. Not only do you need two logins, Facebook starts to think that you're trying to trick them. And I had one lady I helped a couple of years ago who Facebook actually thought was operating fraudulently and trying to spam people through this fake alias she'd set up to have this separate business page. Yeah, so, I mean, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good to make a distinction between people use Facebook profiles, businesses use Facebook pages. So they are separate things. They have Facebook pages that have got quite a distinct purpose. So the rule 101 is that when you want to have a business presence on Facebook, you need to establish a Facebook page. You still do that using your own personal login, but just because you log into your personal Facebook to access the Facebook page, that doesn't mean that people who come to your Facebook business page have access to you. It's just kind of like going in the back door to get to the cafe. Other people can't get from the, back to the kitchen when they're in the cafe. That's a bad example, but I got completely lost in that. I think what I'm saying is that I need coffee. Yeah. So it's really important, and as soon as you every now and then I get a friend request from a business, and that's always like a facepalm moment, because you sort of straight away, as soon as you put a business on Facebook, kind of show that you don't quite know what you're doing with Facebook. So rule 1, you need to have a Facebook page for your business.
Can you have two different pages?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I'm an admin on more pages than I care to count right now.
Okay.
So there's no limit on that. It's just that. Yeah.
And how many Facebook logins have you got?
Yeah, and by default you're anonymous. As soon as you set up a new business page, by default you're anonymous. You have to actually try really hard to put in the About Us page who you are and associate you with the business.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Can I just ask, how many people here already have and manage a Facebook page, and how many of you are here to find out if it's worthwhile or not? So first one, how many of you have a Facebook page? Okay, so that's most of you. Cool.
And who's got a personal Facebook account? Put your hand up. Yes, there's a few people that are not on Facebook yet, right?
Cool. What's next?
It seems like it's getting harder to reach people organically, and they're having sort of paid posts or do ads to reach people.
Yeah.
Is that a correct assumption, and are there ways to get around it? Or
Yeah, so what kind of percentages do you think? Like you write a post, what percentage of your audience sees your post?
we're lucky if we get 10%.
Yep.
The normal ones, sometimes we get up to 40 or 50.
Right. So just to be clear, so she's got a business page and people have come along and clicked the like button, so they've indicated that they're giving permission to hear from that business, right? And so what she's saying is she goes along and writes an actual post, a piece of text, a photo as well, and it gives you a little statistic to say what percentage of your audience just saw that message. She's saying it's about 10%. Anybody else got another percentage they've seen on their page? Any better or worse?
About 10.
Actually lower
10
than
over there.
that. Sometimes we put events on, but we usually like if we can get even 8 sometimes.
Right,
Yeah.
cool. Anybody else?
I've had some pages that are like 3%.
Yeah.
Lower. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating because I'll come back to you in a second. Because you kind of put this effort into growing this audience, and then Facebook is incentivizing you because the boost button, if you've seen that on the corner, they're kind of saying if you spend $10 or $5, we'll be able to send your message to your whole audience. What do you reckon?
I'm a booster. I boost. It's a complex equation that determines who sees your posts, and I mean, the guy who set it up is one of the smartest people in the world, and it's a pretty elaborate logarithm that determines what any individual user will see in their newsfeed at any one time. And the reality is there's so much content. If you actually think about all the pages that you've liked, if you were to see every post from every piece of page, it would be like trying to fit the ocean through a 3-inch pipe. It's just not going to happen. So Facebook rewards engaging content. So that's step number one, is that it's easy to get better, but first of all, you've got to work on getting better. So your first step is do better posts. And more engaging posts can mean different things. One, it can mean the time of day that you post. So perhaps your audience is stay-at-home. No, perhaps your audience are working professionals and you're posting at 10 in the morning when they're at work. And so by the time they get home and put the kids to bed and jump on Facebook at 9 o'clock, your post is long gone. So the time of day can have a pretty significant impact on who you're reaching from your audience. Whether you're using eye-catching images that actually catch people's attention in the newsfeed have got a really big impact on that. The length of words that you're using, like the amount of text that you're using, people don't want to read paragraphs in books. It's kind of like the 3-line rule. Really, if you have a 3-line, interesting, well-crafted story plus an eye-catching image, your chances of catching people's engagement and interest and actions in terms of likes or comments goes up a lot. So the first thing to do is, it's very disempowering to feel like you're trying to do all this work and Facebook isn't showing what you're doing to people, but just remember you're competing for eyeballs and attention with a lot of other people. So you've got to first of all be better, not better. And then for the factors that you just simply can't control, then I find boosting to be something helpful to amplify the work that you're already doing. And I think in the beginning you could get away with not boosting and just being good and like standing out by having good content, but I think I've noticed now that even when you've got great content, it's still hard to cut through just because of the sheer volume of pages that there are around now. So I do use boosting as a strategy, and sometimes I get all insecure and do it if a post has gone really bad, but when I'm smart, what I wait in to see what performs well organically and then boost the ones that do well, because that's kind of proving that it's actually got some inherent value in it already that is worth spending some money on to amplify, rather than going, well, that died in the water, like, let's try and get this out again. Sometimes you're just flogging a dead horse.
Can you just post the same thing at a different time of day? Like 2 or 3 different
Yeah,
times?
I recycle content quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's unusual for people to see it because they're just not, people apart from us, people don't live on Facebook.
Right.
Just a little note about how much more audience you can get with a boosted post. So you got a couple of pages, one of them say got 1,000 likes on it, and normally I might reach 20% of that audience if I'm lucky. I boost the post for $5 and I might expose the audience to 20,000 people. So it's like, it's friends of the people who really like the page. That's the kind of audience you're tapping into. So yeah, it's a pretty massive audience for $5.
When you repost something on Facebook, say at a different time of day, do you take away the posts that you put up earlier so that your page doesn't end up looking like a broken record?
Yeah, I don't quite know what you mean by that. What do you mean by reposting?
I meant reusing. You were asking about whether you could reuse the same content again.
Yeah.
I would, like a month later. I wouldn't the same day.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't like post something at 10 in the morning and then post the same thing at 7 o'clock that night. I'd do it in the morning once and then I'd go. What I tend to do is, if I'm feeling like a little bit flat of ideas for content, I'll look back at what worked well last month and go, that's probably worth bringing out to see the sunshine for another day, and just do it at a different time of day, like a month later. So yeah, you do have to be careful, because you've got to remember that some people do come and visit your actual page and you don't want to look like you have a stutter.
Yeah.
Just for the next question, so can we just have your first name when you start talking?
Oh, okay. I'm Roxanne, and I was just wondering about milestones. So we're coming up to like 1,000 likes, which we kind of just go, oh yeah, 1,000 likes, cool. Yay! But it kind of, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, like, is it worth celebrating? Do people sort of see value in doing like a promotion or a competition or something for milestones, whether it be 1,000 or 2,000 or 500 or even 100, as the case may be?
I'd love to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of anti that.
Yeah.
And
Okay, cool.
yeah, I don't know, I'll be interested to see what you guys think, but I just think it's just putting emphasis in the wrong area. Like, it should be about your customer or your supporter or whatever it is, and their problems and challenges or whatever inspires them or keeps them awake at night or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I just think that's I don't feel bad about it because most businesses do it.
No,
but
I'm torn on the issue. I feel much the same.
yeah,
So.
but I think it's just a bit inward.
Yeah.
And I think I'd sort of see that post be about something else that's significant. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I tend to have the same philosophy as general, but still think sometimes celebrating something positive and celebratory, especially if you make it kind of a look what we did collectively as
And now you're
as a
going to break it
1,000
off or
people
something.
community. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, if you tie it in something.
Okay.
yeah. Like if you can, I mean, the goal is always to make the hero the audience, not the business. If you can kind of have that part, and then but still celebrate it as a milestone. Then I think I wouldn't overdo it, but I think there's still a place for it as long as your general tone is what Dan is saying. That you're not, the likes aren't there to make you feel good about yourself, but you're actually there to be of service to people.
The funniest thing is when you do that and then a whole lot of people get annoyed and they unlike you.
Yeah.
And you realise that you're back below the threshold of what you just announced. That's
997.
yeah, that's a bit embarrassing.
Nothing to do. Yes.
For people who don't live in the IT world every single second of the day, we, professionals and business people, are actually doing other work. And by the time 9, 10 o'clock at night comes along, the last thing you want to do is go online and post everything and get your Facebook, your LinkedIn and your Instagram site sorted out and do other things. Because you're knackered from meetings and doing work. What's the simple rule for business professionals to actually organise their Facebook day or their LinkedIn day?
Okay, so I think it's about capturing those moments that kind of you think, it might take a little bit of getting used to, but you just capture those moments that you think, that'll be interesting for my audience to hear this or see this, or I've got a thought about something that my audience might like. And just kind of capturing that moment and either doing it on your mobile device. Sometimes the Facebook apps can be a little bit slow to load, but it does give you access to your Facebook page and you can write just a short message when you think of it, rather than, like you say, waiting until that 10:30 at night and thinking, oh, I haven't put any posts up for 2 weeks, what shall I say? That's probably not the most creative kind of mindset to have. So yeah, that's my...
Just an extension on that. How much are you using social media management, like Hootsuite and Buffer, and what to actually do your 10:30 posts?
So you can schedule posts within Facebook. How many people realise you can schedule posts within Facebook? So for those who haven't, that will change your life because one, you don't need Hootsuite and the third-party platforms because you can do it directly. And I'm not sure if it's still the case, but it used to be that Facebook kind of penalised you a little bit for using those third-party apps, and so you had a little bit less visibility, a little bit less edge. So in terms of, I guess, working out a workflow, I tend to schedule my Facebook posts about 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So rather than trying to sit down and be brilliant every day, I try and sit down and be brilliant every couple of weeks and just get into the zone. And because one Facebook post idea tends to lead to another, they're kind of self-germinating. So I get into that. I've just been doing that this afternoon. I look after the Facebook page for Wish You Were Working Here, and so I've just been in that zone. I inhabit that world for a few hours and schedule all my Facebook posts ahead of time, which are now done up till 5th of October. And then I'm just going in to check and manage the page and respond to comments, but the actual posting and content is all done. So that's for busy business people, it's a really good way to streamline your time and manage your content planning.
A real fast way to find that little schedule button is just in the bottom of the box is a tiny little clock. So just have a look for that.
Yeah. And to answer that question as well, 2 weeks is what I work on. So I sit down every 2 weeks and plan the next fortnight, schedule them in.
I'm a bit more casual. If an idea appeals to me, I'll just post it while I'm in the mood for it. Yeah.
I think we've got time for one more Facebook question.
My name's Wendy, and hi Catherine.
Hello.
Are there any businesses that Facebook is not appropriate for?
Probably businesses that don't use people. I'm not sure if there are any of those.
Yeah, I guess you've just got to have an angle, eh? Like even the most boring businesses, you could find an angle. Like I did some update. You know those fly dispensers that go on the wall? You know, Eco-Mist? Yeah, so I managed their Facebook page for a while. And the stuff we came up with, man, we found a spider that looked like Miley Cyrus. We found a video of people, of like thousands of spiders coming out of this hole in the desert and scaring a whole bunch of people. And yeah, there's just heaps of stuff. And then we started to write helpful articles about how to get cockroaches out of your barbecue and all sorts of things. And so you just got to work the angle, I think. And like Catherine said, if there's people have birthdays, things they celebrate, and you know, you hire new people, they have babies, whatever. Depending on what sort of message you want to get across. But I think there are some businesses that can use it, but I think for the most you can find an angle.
I used to be pretty harsh on this, and I had a bit of a blacklist of businesses that I thought wouldn't be appropriate, but I've been challenged by that because I've seen examples in those industries that do pretty well. So yeah, I'd give just about anything a go now, and give it a go for a few months or something, and if you really don't get any traction, pull the plug on it then, I guess. But
maybe business to business is a question mark, eh?
Yeah, that's a question mark fun.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
there's people in businesses on Facebook at night, so it's,
It might not be your primary. It might be LinkedIn first as your main channel or whatever. And
yeah.
Yep. If you can think of, you know, something to say, or you can think of a photo that says something, or a video that says something, then you've got a chance.
I think a good rule of thumb is that Facebook, for any social marketing, you want to use it to show both your competence and your warmth. And social marketing gives you the great chance to show a human, personal warmth that you can't always get across in corporate communications, which are often more dry. So, you know, and it may be that there's different emphases within your communication. So your website may be a little bit more professional and, you know, distant and clean cut and emphasise your competence. But you can use Facebook to emphasise your warmth and your humanity.
Can I say
oh, this lady up here had one too, and she got cut off. Talk to us after.
so Simon Christie. I was wondering how you manage the balance between pushing product and then having other like just fun, engaging posts.
Yeah.
I've got a book here that talks about that actually.
This is a book you can get from the
It's from the
library.
library. And it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And this guy is a guru. You should get this book if you haven't read it and you want to understand social media. And it's really current too. It's been released only a few months ago. And his theory is jab, jab, jab is the helping or the interesting, inspiring stuff, and then the right hook is your offer. So according to that, that's 25%. So, 75% is about engaging, and then 25% is about the offer.
Yeah.
And I think the 80-20 rule is probably another simple one to use. So your engaging posts create the audience and keep people seeing your posts hopefully, and then when you do have an offer, hopefully a large portion of those are going to see it.
Yep.
Who's the author?
Gary
Oh,
Vaynerchuk.
sorry.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Gary V. I think you can probably do a Google search for that.
Probably got a Facebook.
Yeah, he's not hard to find online.